Hi everyone, this is Denise from Creates with Love and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make hand sanitizer holders using Cricut Infusible Ink. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right into the project. The first thing you want to do is if you want to use my free files, go ahead and go to my blog, createswithlove.com. I will link it down in the description and get your free files and then download them onto your desktop. Okay, so I'll take you from that point. You've downloaded your files onto your desktop. You can see right here it says hand sanitizer holder is what I named it. So you're on Design Space. You want to click on Upload, and I'm going to upload an image. And I'm going to take that file, which is an SVG file, and I'm going to drag it. When it turns green, just let go of it. And I've already got it named here for you. I'm just going to add infusible ink here. That will help me on down the road. And I'm going to save. And I'm going to click on uploaded image and then click on insert image. Now when it comes into your design space, it's going to come automatically all grouped together. What I'm going to do, just so I can see all of my files, is I'm going to use this little zoom option down here. I'm going to zoom down so I can see everything. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut out, I'm going to choose right now what I want. And then first of all, just to let you know, these are all set up perfectly to use the hand sanitizer holders that I have chosen, and you'll see them in a little bit, the one that I'm going to be using. And I provided a blank one, and there's several things you can do with the blank one. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup all of these files. So I'm going to go over here and ungroup. Now I can take this one plain one and I'm going to just go ahead and duplicate it. That way I have a front and a back if I want to make just a plain design using the Infusible Ink Transfer Sheets, right? Because they're so beautiful all by themselves. Now I'm also going to I want to make the reindeer one today. So I'm going to click that one and bring it out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. And then I'll probably fast forward through that part so you don't get bored with that part. But what I'm going to do is this is one project right here. So I'm going to take these together and they're going to be that one same color. Okay, so actually what I'm going to do is change the color of it. This will make a little bit more sense in a little bit. So basically what I'm telling Design Space is that I want these two to cut out on one mat. And then I want these, right? So I'm going to take one of these, duplicate it, and I'm going to change it to a different color. The reason why I want these to cut on one mat and I want these to cut on one mat. That will help me keep everything straight going forward, okay? All right, so now that I know I don't need these, what I'm going to do is just take my mouse and just kind of rubber band around everything. I'm going to group them. Okay, now they're all in one group, and now I'm just going to turn that group off. So go up to the top. This is where they're all grouped, and I'm going to turn that off so it's not even in my way. I'm going to bring this back up to 100%. Actually, it's usually on 75. Okay, so I've got this one and this one. These are just going to be plain Infusible Ink Transfer Sheets, and this one is going to be a layer design using Infusible Ink Transfer Sheets and then a different color for the reindeer head. So at this point, I can go ahead and click on Make It. And I want to mirror everything. So I don't really have to mirror these, but when I'm doing an iron-on or infusible ink project, I like to just get in the habit of mirroring. That way I typically, notice I said typically, don't forget. Okay, so I'm going to take it back up to here. All of my mats are mirrored. Now, just to let you know, my mat is getting a little bit worn, my actual Cricut mat up here in the left-hand corner. So I'm going to simply take this and drag one down to each lower bottom corner because that part of my mat is still really sticky. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Drag it down here, drag this one down here, and this one is fine. I'm just going to leave that there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on continue. And I'm going to choose Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet. If you don't have it in your favorites, click on Browse Materials and you will find it there. So I'm going to click on Infusible Ink and it's default pressure, which is fine. Load your 5-point blade and I will meet you over at the maker. Okay, so here is the project. These are the hand sanitizer holders using Cricut Infusible Ink. And these are the little containers that come with them. And then they also come with one of these rings here. I already took all my rings off so I could press them. You want to make sure you take these off before you press on your infusible ink. Okay, so I just wanted to show you real quick that there. Just put this here out of the way. So this is what we're going to be making. I'm going to show the one layer design like one of these. This is layered, right? Infusible ink. You can't layer on top of another infusible ink. So you need to do what's called set in place. So I've already created the files for you. I've made it super easy for you. All you need to do is follow my procedure that I'll do here with the reindeer one. Okay, so let me move these aside real quick. Take this little guy out and move him over here. Okay, so for infusible ink, you want to lay your infusible ink printed side up. So the first one we're going to do is just the plain one that's not layered. Okay, so I've got this. I thought this would be cute for a guy, the design. And women too, but I thought that diamond plate might appeal to the male force. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put this here. And I use my brayer because then my hand is not touching the ink as much and it helps me make sure that it's nice and flat on the mat. Load the mat. Okay, well that's cutting. I'm going to go ahead and kind of go over how I do this. So we need to take our rectangle out. So we're going to weed the negative space. So what I'm going to do is just fold this on the line and just put my fingernail under there and tear it out. Right, we don't need this outside part. So we're just going to peel that off. I'm going to do that on both pieces real quick. This side is the back side, so it doesn't have the reindeer on it. And this side has the reindeer in there. It's kind of hard to see. Now, Infusible ink, if this is the first time you've worked with it, it's not like weeding regular vinyl. What I like to do on this type of design is I take my finger on the bottom side and just kind of roll it across and it starts picking out that little reindeer in there. You can do either side. I'll just go back and forth a little bit at a time, and it very gently actually loosens up the reindeer. And as always with infusible ink, make sure your hands are clean, free of lotion, and they are not moist from water from when you washed your hands before you started the project. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now I can go up in there and just kind of peel the reindeer back. And just kind of work it. Sometimes I'll use tweezers. Most of the time I don't. But that is an option, if that helps you at all. Okay, so there is our reindeer. Okay, so this, I'm going to actually save this because this reindeer's fine. We're not going to use it in our project today because we're going to take a reindeer from the other color and put it here. So this reindeer would go great on another project. Maybe you want to switch the color for the design for next time, right? Use the brown color as the background and use this as the reindeer in the middle. Okay, so keep this little guy. I'm going to just move him aside. Okay, so here's the front, here's the back, and then we're going to unload our mat here. This is the reindeer that's on here. Peel them off the mat. And again, the same thing, just kind of curl it back and forth until you can get the reindeer out of there. Basically, we're going to take this brown reindeer and put him right here for the leopard print. Super easy. Oh, and you can do the same thing in Cricut Design Space. Say you prefer a different image than the files that I provide. You can simply take one of those blank rectangles that I have, find an image that you want in Design Space, and select both, select both the rectangle, the plain rectangle, and the image that you want. Place it where you want and make sure it's aligned to center if that's the design that you're going after. And then slice that image out of there. And then now you have a layered design that you can use. Okay, come on, little guy. There we go. Okay, so pull this guy out. Okay, I'm going to save this too because this is all usable. You never know when you'll use, might want a little piece like that in a design. Okay, so I'm going to take this reindeer and place him as straight as I can in here. And I will show you a little trick to let you be able to see if that design is lined up good. Sometimes, especially with this guy with the little antlers, it's a little tricky. Worst case scenario, if you don't line it up perfectly, and sometimes even if you do, you'll have like just a little outline around your image, which is not a deal breaker. It is simply okay. Crafting is not perfection, it's creating. Okay, so what I do is I turn it upside down, and that kind of lets you know if it was way off. This one's really good. I'm going to leave it just like it is. If it was if the design was way off to the side, then I might go back and try to readjust it. But this one is going to work good for us. Okay, so I'm good with that. Okay, now this one is ready to go, and these are ready to go. So let's get this project going. I'm going to move this off to the side here, and you can watch how I press. There's a very specific way to press this project because this A is right, it's got a depth to it. So when the press goes on the hand sanitizer holder, it's hard to know when it's exactly flat. And because of the polyester threads that go around in here, you want to make sure that if you don't press it evenly, I want to show you what happens. I did several of these before I started the project. And let me just show one to compare. Okay, let's just compare it, say, to this one. You can see how on this one, you have the kind of white looking line on the left side only. And if I flip it over, same thing. I've got the white line. This was before I figured out how to rock the press, not move the press or slide the press, but to just gently, you'll see it when I do it. I'm just gently rocking it back and forth. The reason why is this, in order for these neoprene to accept the infusible ink, it needs an incredible amount of pressure, which is really difficult for us to do. Now, those of you that have one of those heat presses where you press the handle down, you don't have to worry. Just do it for 375 or 385 at 40 seconds if you have a heat press. If you have an easy press, 2, like I'm going to be using today, then you want to do this method of rocking back and forth. Okay, so those with the heat press, with the handle where you push down, do 385, 40 seconds, and you've got no problems. It's the perfect amount of pressure. For an easy press too, it's kind of like a little bit of tweaking, and you can actually have successful designs like this without having to have a heat press. Okay, so let me show you that real quick. Let me get this out of the way. You always want to use a I forgot what these are called. Lint roller. Make sure that you don't have any fuzzies on your design before you press. I cleaned my whole area before I started this project. I always do that when I use infusible ink. So this one's good to go. I'll just wipe this one. Okay, so these are good. And let me show you my process. I came up with kind of a cute little way to do the iron-on price process. I could not use one of these mats. Let me see. Where did it go? I think I have it in the other room. I put it in the other room to cool, but let me move this over so you can see what I'm talking about. This type of mat, you don't want to, if you're doing this project, right, with these, you do not want to use your Easy Press mat because it's too squishy. This type of project needs a harder surface. Okay, so let me move this over here. And this is what I came up with. You don't have to have one of these. This is just for me because I don't want it to slide around on my work surface. So basically what I'm using, you're going to crack up. This is a really old cutting board. Okay, we don't use it for cooking anymore, but I kept it. So this is a nice hard surface and it doesn't wobble. It's completely flat. It's not going to move. Just because I don't know what I'm ever going to use this for, I just try to protect my surface so I don't have any heat issues. I have these oven safe. I think these are safe to, gosh, I don't remember, like 450 or 500 degrees. And I just put this on top. This protects my surface underneath. And then on top of that, I like to use this little cardstock. And honestly, I haven't needed it, but I'm just extra cautious. And so I put this here. So this is a nice, hard, firm surface, okay? Now we need a piece of butcher paper to start our project, okay? So let's just do the reindeer one first, okay? We're gonna take our butcher paper, open it up, okay? You can see what size I cut, you just need it to be a little bit bigger than this. I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna take my ink side of my transfer sheet, I'm gonna put it on the top side, flip it over and just kind of line it up so it's nice and centered. I like things to be really not move at all, so I'm probably a little bit more cautious than I need to be, but I like to put a piece of tape here just so that when I flip it over, it's not going to adjust or move. I can simply just take it, turn it over, carefully place it down, and then I've got some more. This is heat resistant tape that I'm using. Cricut has, it's right here, the heat resistant tape, and I put it in an old Scotch tape dispenser that I have. So let me put a piece on this side. Sometimes, depending on, this looks like it's going to be fine. If you're uncomfortable, you can tape more. I think I am fine with this, so just cover it up with the other half of the butcher paper. And then I actually have a little step stool in front of me that I'm standing up on, and that's just so I can get really super strong pressure. So my Heat Easy Press 2 is set at let's see, 385 for 40 seconds. So I'm simply going to press it down, straight down. I'm going to press the timer. I'm going to take two hands. I'm going to press as hard as I can, and I'm simply going to just rock very lightly from right to left. Now, what this rocking is doing is ensuring that the edges where that polyester thread is also getting the 385 pressure onto it, even though it's not solid. Trust me, I screwed up enough of these to where I figured out that this works. And I'd rather the mistake be on my end than on your end. Okay, so there's our time is up. I'm going to lift it straight up, pull the butcher paper off, and I'm just going to peel this back. It's a little warm. There we go. Okay, so I want to show you this. So if this happens to you, you can see I didn't quite get the pressure enough. So I'm simply going to put this right back down. I'm going to remove the reindeer. I'm going to put this right back down and just press just a little bit longer. If I can line them up just right, there we go. And get back up on here. I'm just going to put a little bit more pressure where those threads are. You'll notice that I didn't quite line it up, and that's okay. It's more important for me that I get those sides. Okay, that should be good. Okay, so this got a little bit, and I'm okay with that. Okay, let me turn it over. I'll show you the other side. Part of it might have been just the way that I was holding it, but let me turn it over and show you the other side. But you can see that we got more of the line away. You can see some of the line here. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just simply going to turn my project over. And because I've used this several times, let me grab a new piece. So now we're just going to do the straight back. No layering needed. Okay, so you got your ink here. Put the back directly to the ink. And again, I'm just going to use a little piece of tape. Turn it over. Okay, so same thing. Let me move this out of the way. 385 for 40 seconds. And pull it off. There we go. So I was able to put a little bit more strength or oomph behind this one, which is why I don't have the line showing here. Okay, so I think it's really good for you guys to see that this can happen. It's super, super cute. It might not be as difficult for you. You guys might have better upper body strength than I do at this time, so keep that in mind as well. You want to make sure you put that pressure on and just slightly rock back and forth, not too fast, just kind of nice and slow. So let's now do one of these ones that is, you don't have to put in a layer in it. And grab another piece of butcher paper here. So this is if you want to just take basically a rectangle of infusible ink, 2 pieces is all you would need to do one of these infusible ink hand sanitizers. Okay, so grab it open. You want to take your ink, and you really can't, just in case somebody's wondering, you really can't press these at one time. You can't put it like this and then put ink here and press it successfully. It just will not work. You need to do one side at a time. Okay, so I'm just lining up the ink side to the front side, and I'm just going to put a little piece of tape here. This will help me as I turn it over so it doesn't move. Put it straight down, and then take another piece of tape and one more for the bottom side, and cover it with your butcher paper. And then you want to put your pressure on it. Let me move this here. Okay, so here we go again. I'm going to fast forward. All right, so this one turned out perfect. I'm going to take it. That is pretty cool. I love that. I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to flip it, invert it the other way. So I can just go ahead and reuse it. And then just so you know too, you can also reuse that heat resistant tape. Okay, so same thing. This looks really good. I'm going to put this side against the ink side. Line it up. And I'm going to put a piece of tape from here. Accidentally moved it. There we go. And turn it over. Take this piece of tape off. Probably should have took it off before. But I wanted to show you that you can reuse your tape. So another way to save money, just like your transfer tape. I don't know if you're aware of that, but if you're not, you can also reuse your transfer tape for vinyl projects. All right, so there we go. I'm going to cover it with the butcher paper. And I'm going to fast forward. Pretty warm. You can let it cool, just so you know. I'm just trying to be quick for y'all. Okay, so let me just move this out of the way here. Okay, so here are our designs that came out really nice. I've got some more that I want to work on, but I just wanted to show these to you really quick. I think these would make great gifts, great stocking stuffers, all kinds of ideas with these. It's nice to be able to give something to somebody that they can really get a lot of use of, especially with what's going on right now, and it's going to go on for a little while longer. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I will get right back to you. And remember to create with love. Bye.